everybody. Thank you for joining us at the hashtag IMOMSOHARD podcast.
Are we podcasting?
We are podcasting. For everybody out there that's dealing with an Arctic chill, we feel really bad for you because I'm freezing and it's 58 degrees.
Yeah, so if you hear that low hum
Murmur
in the background, it's a heater on our heads.
It's a heater because I need to toughen up and I can't.
No, I'm shaking.
I'm shaking. I'm like, ugh. We've been cold in here, so the best way to warm up is obviously to have a mimosa.
Look.
And so maybe we're having mimosas today.
Yeah.
Because we're going to talk about a really fun thing.
Oh my gosh. We were talking about this. Yeah. I immediately started to giggle.
Yes.
Because, oh God.
So we're going to have some fun today. I just spit across you. Talking about like friendship, but also how one makes friends, how you made friends when you were little, how you make friends now. And all of this kind of came about. I texted Jen because it's a really funny theme in our house. My kids are very curious about my friendships because they've seen that I have friends, and same like you, that we've had friends that we've known our whole lives. Yeah. But then they're like, well, how did that start? What did you say? And I was like, some of that shit is pretty funny.
Well, also, it's because your kids don't recognize that you're a human or a person. Or
that you were ever cool or funny or charming, and that they would have. So there is that little judgment where they're like, how do you have friends?
Oh, I might have something similar to you.
Yeah,
you do things that I do.
Yes.
What? Yeah.
Yes, and that they could learn from us. God forbid.
Oh, by the way, rate,
review,
subscribe.
Please, God, please.
You know that if you subscribe, that...
Do they get stuff?
Yeah, the podcast just goes to their phone.
Really?
Yeah. I know that because I finally subscribed
to our own...
No, I didn't even subscribe to ours. I'm going to, and I'm going to rate, and I'm going to review it, and you'll know which one's mine because it's going to be like...
it has your first name and last name, and you're
that
like,
short
they're
one
great.
Is
they're
riveting.
Great.
Yeah.
They are so fun. Yes, rate, review, subscribe, tell your friends.
Follow us on...
all of it.
On Instagram, Facebook, TikTok,
Twitter.
We do other stuff too.
But just nobody cares about that. Follow us because it makes us feel better about ourselves, and we can put some dinner on the table, if you know what I mean. Make some of that green.
Yeah.
Which in the podcast world is not a lot.
And also because I've just realized this, people want to see you. People we forget this about us, like what we do with you guys on our socials, that you follow us because you want to see us.
Right.
And you want to see us do this stuff. And it's because we feel like we're friends, and we feel like we're friends with you, which is why when we get your messages and your mom boxes and things like that, we delight in it because as we get older, we got to have friends how we can. They don't just fall in your lap.
Yep.
Like they used to.
100%.
So follow us. So
and in fact,
we'll be with each other.
Now that you say that, I have a really funny, I'm going to have to find it, mom box that has never made me feel more seen than remember how we did the Christmas one with all the favorite things?
Yeah.
People really listened and they liked some of our suggestions.
Yeah.
And now what is the name of the lip balm we like? I never say it right because it's a French name. Laneige.
Yeah. I think it's L-A.
Nage. Shit. I can't remember.
Laneige, I think.
Laneige. Let's see if I can find it. But we'll get on top. Damn it. No. I'll have to.
You guys heard what happened there, right? I spelled it.
All right, never mind.
A different way.
Whatever. We'll get back to that. But I will. No, we're not. I'm just gonna say it because I'm not gonna be able to give her name. Nothing has made me feel better. Nothing feels more fun than when you guys send us messages that are not hard hitting. Even though we love the ones that are hard hitting, where you tell us the real deal, we can handle it. But the ones that are this woman was like, I live in Alaska. You gave me the tip about the Laneige lip balm. It's changed my life. I bought one for my car, one for my husband's car, one for my...
It really works.
And I was like, why do I feel so satisfied right now? I told my husband about it. I was like, see, somebody thinks I'm right.
That's
and
awesome.
Everybody's like, what hyaluronic acid is Jen using? The inexpensive
Hyaluronic.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Hydrolonic? What do you say?
I don't know what that
Hydroponic?
Is. That's when they clean out your butt, isn't it?
I don't know what you're doing on weekends.
Hydroponics. No.
Hydroponics is
a
plants
colonic.
in the water.
Never mind. Okay. Okay.
What are you doing?
I'm not a scientist,
You're talking about
Kristin.
a colonic.
I am. Oh, okay.
And that's not a colada. That's a pina colada. You're talking about a penis
You know those
colonic.
college students.
It was
put
your
them in their
anniversary.
butt, though.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was.
And I also told you that riveting fact, which you still don't understand, that the easiest way to hydrate someone if they are literally, if you are in a boat and this person cannot drink water because they are dehydrated and they might die, best way to do it, put water right up the old poop chute. It's the easy way to hydrate.
See logistically how it's going to be easier
Because they can't drink because they're like pass
on the
out.
supplies you have in an escape boat.
Nope. You got to use tubing. You've got to have a little bit of, you got to do a DIY.
Dinghy, are you going to have tubing, Kristin?
I'm just saying in this dinghy
Open their mouth
situation.
and down, there's tubing naturally installed.
You need it to be absorbed by your organs faster. And you cannot do that through consumption of the mouth. So you put it in the butt.
You can't do it with salt water, though, right?
No, because that'll dry you out.
All right.
Survival. With this one, she'll be like, you guys, I can't.
I'm going to die with some nice hydrated lips.
No,
and
but I'm
then
going to put it
a very
right
dry
up the old.
anus. Yeah.
You're going to have nice lips.
Because no, I don't want you.
Right up your
no,
butt.
You're not.
No,
doing,
you're going to thank me when you're
not
alive.
doing anything with my butt on a dinghy ever.
If you're passed
you
out
may
and you're
quote
dehydrated.
me, and that's.
Nope. I'm going to take care
I'll
of you.
come back to life. I'll
Just to
scare
slap
the
me.
shit out of you. And say, don't touch my butt. You know what's funny is I want to watch the video. I bet we had the exact same
reactions.
conversation.
I did. I think it was, you were like, don't you dare do that to me if I pass out. I'm like,
Yeah.
can't make any promises.
Let me go.
Nope,
Let me
no,
go.
I'm not. Do not go towards the light.
I'm running towards it.
You're,
I am.
You're like, why is she buggering me right
Why is
before I
she
go?
acting like she's dead? Just so I will leave her alone.
Jen, do to me what I said I'd do to you.
No.
Hydrate my butt. Show me you're a real friend.
You know what? Sorry, I don't have a tube.
You don't need it. You could just.
I think you need it.
Well, I don't know. I just am saying that this is what I would do for you. And also, you're welcome, lady, in Alaska for the lip gloss.
Okay, let's just say, just one last scenario before we move on to something that is what we meant to talk about. Say you're on a Carnival cruise ship, okay? And you happen to get a tour of the ship and you see all the escape ships, like the little dinghies and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay, you look in them and here are the supplies. Life vests, plastic tubing, and water bottles.
Done. You know what you're getting. I don't care if we just go on a day
You
cruise.
would not be weirded out.
No way. I would put that tube in your butt so fast. I would save you. I would save you. You're lucky I saw a survival video about it.
So
Why are you thanking me right now?
Let's say I have the bad luck of being on your escape ship or your dinghy. Okay,
That's
going to happen.
Right.
So
we're on a day trip. The dinghy goes out too far.
A 3-hour tour. A 3-hour tour. Okay.
Right.
You're gonna not let me drink water from the bottles until it gets so bad it has to go up my butt.
Jen, you are drinking. Okay, you are dehydrated. And you have passed
Why?
out.
Because there's water in bottles.
I don't know because
on
you're not
the
paying
dinghy.
attention.
No, that's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. Kristin, there should never be an incident where
I didn't see that part of the show. I saw a survival video about this. I didn't
can
see
you do it with dirty water? Is that the point? You can put dirty water in your
bottled
beehole?
water. I don't remember. Maybe there was a rainstorm and they collected it on a plastic tarp and then put it into the tubing for your butt.
One last scenario. I'm one last one. I promise this will be the last one. So there's nothing in that dinghy. There's nothing in the dinghy.
I don't think you can have nothing in the dinghy because then we're both dead.
Okay, you only have tubing in the dinghy. Okay.
Okay.
And it's been 2 days and you're both like, I'm so thirsty. And then
a rainstorm?
Like a Smart and Final ship capsizes a few miles away and some water floats up.
You try too hard to get the Christmas decorations and therefore you exacerbate.
Right.
And then you pass
then
out.
I'm fully,
there we go. I've
okay.
got tubing and water.
So now all of a sudden, I didn't have water. There's clean water. You put that in my butt.
Totally, right then and there.
That's the only scenario that makes sense. It literally is the only time you've said that it makes sense.
It is why people now, like young people, are putting tampons of vodka in their hoo-ha to get drunk because it does absorb faster. And when you're talking about keeping those organs awake and alive, girl, I'm putting a tube in your butt. You're welcome. Lucky for you, you have a friend like me. Some people would get grossed out by that or think that there's boundaries. I don't. I think your butt is my problem.
You know what? How much have you had for dinner that a shot of vodka isn't going to, like, what if you had an entire casserole that you can't feel a shot of vodka?
I don't know.
College students?
I honestly
you got to
don't
put it in
know.
your butt? Let's rethink some things.
I don't know. Also, I don't know if that goes in your butt. I think, like, some girls might be putting it in their hoo, which is a terrible idea because it's going to dry out your whole situation. I don't know. Maybe they're pointing a finger at people not using the common sense.
Putting a casserole in your butt because you're really hungry. And then you can still have shots of vodka and save money at the bar.
You are getting the hydration through your butt so that it goes to your organs. It keeps your organs alive and it sustains your life. And when I watched this one episode of How to Survive in a Dinghy in case you get dehydrated, the guy survived because they hydrated him through his butt. There was 3 people in the dinghy and one passed out. I don't know the logistics. I don't know why there was a third. I don't know how they got the water.
I just want to say, who's our third? Because I wake up and there's a bottle sticking out of my butt. I see your mug. I'm not going to think you were trying to... I'm going to check socials and make sure you didn't take some opportunistic photos. I'm going to make sure there's not a Sharpie in that dinghy, by the way.
that I like drew a mustache on you in addition to putting
dork
it up
on
your
my
butt.
chest. I know. Right in my back, enter here on my butt crack where I can't.
Maybe I do that because levity does make things better if you are on an island.
She's like, the only way to
survive.
Hey, number 3, the only way that we're going to get through this is with some good times. Let's use this corpse of my friend first to make fun of, and then we'll eat her.
That's not a corpse. I would not eat you. Well,
you would eat me. That's
no,
a
I
whole
wouldn't.
other podcast.
I wouldn't. I don't think I can do that. Well, it depends.
Like an arm or something.
Good thing I did see that movie too, because you're only supposed to eat the butt and the knuckles. I don't have to try any part of you that isn't going to be satisfying. I know for a fact I got to go knuckles and butt.
Great. I don't want to be the one that points this out, but I have to because everybody's thinking it that's listening. All of your survival skills involve butts, and that's it. So let's move on to friendships.
Fine.
Okay?
I don't know. I'm not giving marital advice, but I've heard that helps.
I'm not
doing that.
I'll take the divorce. Thank you. I don't need to do
that. I'm not talking about surviving marriage. I'm talking about surviving the Adirondacks. Right? Is that a mountain range?
Exactly. And you know what? My husband is not sick enough of my vagina to die in the Adirondacks.
Oh, no. That's where women that are doing that have done it wrong. Because I don't give enough ass away, literal, not that ass, the other ass.
Yeah.
I haven't given that enough go for my husband to be satisfied where he wants to get creative. He's like, oh God, she's offering her vagina. I should take this 3 minutes.
My husband's still excited and surprised to see my boobs. Yeah, I know.
I show my husband. I'm impressed at how much my boobs can distract him. I'm like, you've seen these 1,000 times. I'm changing my shirt to go pick up the kids. Have you heard anything that I've said to you? No. But it is a power that I like to know that I have. It's the only way I can get him to look up from an Astros game.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Or by sticking a bottle of water in his butt.
So if you want to say thank you for being a good friend right now, this would be the time to do it.
I'm going to wait. I'm going to wait and see.
Let me just say this.
I'm going to hope you're on a dinghy with somebody else first, and then I'll risk my dinghy time with you.
Fine. You'll be the third. You'll be the third person. I'll save that other person's life, and you'll be like, I'm impressed. I'm sorry I ever said anything that wasn't supportive.
I do think, if I was the third and it was the other person that passed out first,
You'd be mad at yourself. You'd be like, Kristin, we got to do that thing.
Yeah, and you'd be like, hold on. I'm trying to remember what it was. Let's see. You pick out a paint color first. No, what do you? Okay. You clear their windpipe first. You pee on them. What is it? I can't remember exactly.
It's so true. My poor ADD and survival skills, I'd be like, I got 25% of the keys of the kingdom. The rest is blurry.
Well, she just made an additional canoe out of that body. We didn't even need it. This one's fine.
We could see the shore.
Yeah. We could have just swam.
We could have swam there, but she insisted on the tubing up the butt. Like she really wanted to see this through. Survivalists weigh in. Hashtag IMOMSOHARD podcast.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is, I don't know if your kids are doing this, and we talked about it a little bit, but lately my kids have been very fascinated with my friendships and have been asking how these friendships came to be. And I have to, can I do the big brag right now about Lynn?
What?
So all of this kind of came to be because Jen gave me the most epic birthday present I've ever been given in my life with a bullet, like without question.
That makes me so happy because I was scared that you were like, what is this?
Why don't I get a bracelet? No, that is not how I operate. So Jen flew in my lifelong friend, Lynn, from Tecumseh, Nebraska. We grew up together in Central City, Nebraska. We've known each other since we were in preschool. And Lynn is like now a dear friend of Jen's, but has been one of my closest friends my whole life. And nobody knows me more than Lynn because I had, my K through 12 with her.
Yeah.
So it's a whole different understanding. And you and I didn't meet until we were in our young 20s. Don't worry about the math on any of that isn't true. So anyway, Lynn flew in. Jen gave me this gift, and it was so awesome because Lynn is from a small town in Nebraska. So when she came out, it was like we got to like fall in love with LA again because we got to do all the fun LA things.
Yeah.
And
because we forget
that this is a really fun city when you're not from here. And if you just venture out, you can have all these experiences, which we did. We went and got our hair done. She got her first round of Botox, which looks amazing.
And by the way, my thought was, Kristin and I travel all the time. Like we stay in hotels. That's not like the excitement of it. Because literally the hotel was 6 blocks from
my house,
her house, because, I had organized with Colin, but I wanted to make sure if there was something important going on with the kids or whatever, she would still, and I figured Lynn would want to see them. But I'm like, if Kristin and I are together, we're going to talk about work.
Right.
We need to have that
third person.
Sweet.
Lynn's the third in the dinghy.
That's right. She's the third in the dinghy.
She's third in the dinghy. And she would absolutely put tubing up our butt.
I think she would. But
her dad was a science teacher.
She's a giggler, you guys.
She giggles like Betty Rubble.
She wants to talk about all things girly. All she wants to do is just laugh and like it's
and we did. We had so much fun doing little things. Like we went to a local pub that's right down the street from me, and then we went to Sephora after. Let me tell you, you want to see people get excited? Just walk in if you're someone in your 40s and you've had a cocktail and they know that you have a credit card. The Sephora girls were we've got a live one coming in. We've got 2. And they did. They sold us all of the stuff.
Yeah.
All of the bottles of magic.
I'll take it.
We were like, yes, we will have all of those. And then we went and got like blowouts on our hair. Well, how do you say that? Like,
blowout.
I've only had 3. So like that was first one for Lynn. But like, you go to the blow dry bar and they do your hair.
Yeah. It is called a blowout.
Right.
Yeah.
It's different in my world. A blowout means something entirely different. So
that's
we went
crapping your pants.
Yeah, that's crapping your pants. Again, you're in the dinghy with me. So we had, and thanks to Jen, we just had so much fun. And then one of the moments that was really special is, so my daughter Eleanor is very curious about these friendships that I have, because to meet someone who's known your mom when she was younger than you at that time, it's like they can't wrap their head around it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So Eleanor made a cartoon, like a comic strip of where our Lynn and our friendship together.
Oh God.
I know, it's so cute.
Too cute.
And I realized that Eleanor was like filling in the blanks with some of her own stuff, which I just think is so cool because she's so curious about this friendship. Well, I told her, and this is true, Lynn and I met, and this became a theme in my life. Lynn and I met because she called her boots cowgirl boots, and technically they were not cowgirl boots because they had a squared toe, which makes them cowboy boots. So I started our friendship by making fun of her boots.
Oh.
I wasn't making fun of them.
Would they have had a pointed toe?
Right.
Oh.
So this was, by the way, I have no concrete information on that. I made that shit up in my head. If you had on cowgirl boots, they had a rounded toe. And if you had cowboy boots, they had a squared toe.
is why we're so similar. I was going to tell you, I was an asshole to Mandy.
That's how we meet. I don't know. I guess you just...
Well, because she moved into town. This was in the 5th grade. And my friend Lori and I had been very close, known each other since like kindergarten. You know, I moved away and back. And then Mandy comes in, being sweet and adorable, slides right into the picture with Lori.
She's in the dinghy.
And she's in the number 3 spot in the dinghy. And here I am getting dehydrated. You know, bottled water's going up my butt.
Going out.
So to speak.
She's watching the shipment come in from...
But there was this, you know, there was a love triangle happening.
Which always
between
is
these
precarious.
friends. And I said to Lori and Mandy, I said, Mandy has unhealthy hair.
Well, you're mean.
I know. And Mandy will tell you today, that's the meanest thing I've ever said to her.
That is mean. I mean, unhealthy hair is a lifetime of struggle.
She didn't have unhealthy hair, but she did have a mullet, and she'll admit that.
I had unhealthy hair when I was in 4th grade. And we can all just admit that.
How many perms?
So
Some of
many.
us went through a lot of Ogilvy home perms, you guys.
Why does my mom think she can deal with hair chemicals with any success? Why am I the one? Why am I the one enduring it when she goes and gets professional perms? Why do I have to look like an asshole?
That's my mom
in
was
4th
like,
grade?
we're not going to get streaks and tips in your hair. That's chemicals. You know what we are going to do?
Perm.
Burn you and cause DNA damage
I'm like,
with
Mom,
this
that
perm.
hurts my nose. Like, I think that's not good. And she's like, 5 more minutes. I'm like, my scalp hurts. And I just
it
took
hurts underneath my fingernails,
Yeah,
by
I
the way.
took a rod off and it's starting to glow. Where's my hair?
That's fine.
It's
Hold on, let
fine.
me
It'll look
finish
like a
off this
part.
Bartles and James, and I'll get your rods out.
Hold on.
And we'll
You
put
know what?
the
Wait till commercial
the
break.
activator in.
Yeah, the activator smells so lovely.
Oh, God, yeah.
So then Eleanor did this thing, and my other very close friend, Kevin, we met in kindergarten, and Kevin wore a Nebraska beret with 2 different colors he wore a Hawaiian shirt and a different not matching Hawaiian short. And with
Love that.
Knee socks pulled all the way up with blue Nikes. Now, the reason I remember all this is because I believe it's seared into my brain because it looked like the biggest mistake I've ever seen in my life. The beret in itself was magical. And that's where I think I made fun of his beret. I didn't make fun. I just pointed out, wow, you got a lot going on there. And then we became friends. I don't know why they like me after I'm such a dickhead.
Well, I don't know. That I do think it's very age appropriate that I say that about my daughter. She's like, this matches because this is Hawaiian and this is Hawaiian.
And you're like, that's fair.
Yeah. So you know.
Don't you find do you remember what it was like, how scary it was to make a friend when you were little? Do you ever remember any of that being complicated, or do you? Because I remember one time we were at the ball field, and you guys were there to see Eleanor play in one of her softball games. Nonplussed she was because Delilah came to the game, and Eleanor wanted to quit the game and go play with Delilah, and I was like, that's not what this is about. But Delilah saw another girl her age, and so quickly was like, do you want to play? And the little girl was like, yeah. And then it was off to the races. It was that fast and that easy.
Yeah. Well, with both of the kids, because I didn't have this awareness when I was a kid, but I will tell them, I say, go say hi to that kid. And they're like, I'm scared. And I said, they're scared too.
Yeah.
So one of you's got to give in first and say hi. Because you forget that. And even as adults, they're both scared. Or they both think, oh, they're too busy. They probably have enough friends or whatever.
Yeah.
You kind of have to I do think if I'm good at one thing, it's not being heartbroken if you're not into me. I'm pretty okay with
I'm totally heartbroken. Nothing says try harder than when you say you're not into me. That's Kristin 101.
I'm all right, okay. But, you got to be able, you got to, that's the hardest part of friendship is just, putting yourself out there to be hey, you want to be friends? And if you say no, that's okay, because I got lots of friends,
I think that I didn't have to try very hard to make friends until I got to college because I was from such a small town that like they were just, it was part of the landscape.
That's what I was going to say.
The people were in your dinghy, whether you wanted them in there or not.
We learned so differently because I was a military kid.
You were a military kid. You were moving.
So you're moving, and it's like you just make a friend and then you're moving.
I know that must be so hard.
And we didn't move as much as some people did in the military, but it is hard, and you have to put yourself out there, and it does. In some ways, it does like make your
you
a little
get tougher.
Tougher in some not good ways.
Right.
I mean, you want to see a real good fist fight and go to like a military pool in the summer.
No, just anything military. Like you go to a pool, a barbecue, like somebody's getting like.
Hey, our dads are both 22. And
our dads are going to wrestle real quick. If you guys want to get a natty light out of the fridge, it's fine.
Yeah. No, that's totally how I grew up. So I guess I'm always, and maybe it's like my stage performance where I'm like, I get so nervous.
Yeah.
In all situations that nothing really registers that much higher or lower. So I'm like, I can go say hi to this person and not have it.
Yeah.
Like bug me.
I think for me, obviously like I had my friend, my core group, which was like, for sure, Lynn and Danelle. Danelle, she was like one of those friends that was always a part of my upbringing. Like we would go to Gas and Shop and get these giant big gulps and play track and field on the the gaming thing. Like we were such dorks. Like our big thing was like get $2 from your parents. You could get a big gulp and a ice cream bar and play this Nintendo game, which I always crushed and got to put our names in. So we would put our names into everything. And those are the stories that Eleanor's really attached to. She's like this like longevity and these friendships. And how do you do that? And I'm like, you're already doing that. Like you've got friends that you've been with since kindergarten. You're having that. You will look back and have that right now. But isn't it awesome to think she's watching us and going like, well, how do you and Jen have such a good friendship? What was your friendship like with Lynn when you were little, like my age? And like reflecting on friendship is such a fun, I highly jot it down in a notebook. Like it's really fun.
Well, it's also too like, it is like just time because there's this comfort in certain people where you know who they are and what they're like, and it's just because you've known them for so long. And I was explaining to Dash the other day about how he's like, it's weird how he's like, I feel close to like, say like Finn and Felix. He's like, but I don't see them as much as I see like my friends from school. And I go, you've just known them forever, and you like know what they're like, and like there's like a comfort and ease in that.
Those kids are Dashiell's small town.
Yes.
My kids to Dashiell and Dashiell to my kids are small town. We've been together. We've known each other. Like they've been on vacations together. God, we've been in a tour bus together. Like there's like, also it's just an acceptance of we're going to be together. So let's be, no matter what, you're going to deal with them.
That's a friendship you didn't have to navigate.
You didn't have to really work at either. Because you're like,
you're putting it.
You're putting it. So then when you have to actually make friends, like what I was going to say is after going to high school and having all the same friends and feeling so lucky to have all of these people that I was so close with, and then going to college, I was like, oh man, this is the first time where like I look around my classroom, I don't know anybody, or I'm in a dorm and I don't know anybody, or I'm like, and I don't remember being nervous. What I remember is being like, work hard, work fast. Get those friends. Get as many as you can. Collect them. Be aggressive. Be aggressive. And boy, was I. So like there wasn't. So
this is the Kristin I know from a party.
Oh boy, this is
start
Kristin
rounding
with
them up and
full tilt energy. A need for acceptance, approval, and for you to like me, and a house. So like my sophomore year, I was like, those are all the fixins for popularity. So let's get to it, shall we? And I just did. I just wanted as many friends as I could have.
There's no shame in that. She's like laughing like she's embarrassed.
I just wanted to know everybody, and I liked everybody, and I would communicate with everybody. No wonder I could have done so much better in my grades, but I was like, I'm busy. Like,
And so that didn't happen for you until college.
That really didn't happen for me in college till college. And then I met like my roommates, like
interesting.
Sarah and Michelle Eckley, random person that like Jen and I share in our history because Jen and I went to school in the same town, did not know each other, which is why it pisses me off because I'm like, but I knew everybody. But you were going to Wesleyan and I was going to UNL. And so our Venn diagram just never, well, there's plenty of times I think I was at the same party. I was just hammered.
I'm sure. No, I'm absolutely sure that we were in places or it was quickly in passing or whatever.
Yes, because you knew my roommate, my college roommate really well. So that just like doesn't make sense.
I've known every roommate you've ever had.
Yes.
Has been some person in my life.
They're literally like, can I talk to you for a second? And they're like, is it about Kristin? It is. Okay. Get in the dinghy. We're going to talk about it. She comes on strong, but
let's
she
hope
means
she
well.
dehydrates first. Let's have her do burpees in the canoe until she gets it.
Canoe. This is this isn't a speedboat. No, Kristin's paddling. It's like
that's we'll make her paddle. So she gets
we'll get to shore in 4 minutes. Literally, I was just like I loved college, and then I did the college program.
Yeah,
where I met Allie.
Which is the college program. She means the Disney
college program where you lived in an apartment building. I was like, more friends. And I met Angie and I met Allie. And like Allie, we met while getting ready to bring the magic to Walt Disney World dressed as Pluto. So she had Pluto feet on and I had Pluto feet on. And I do remember I told Eleanor this. I go, this is how I met Allison Bell. I was like, you're a Pluto too? Great, let's be best friends. And then I stayed the night at her house and then I didn't leave for 3 months.
Hilarious. So because your husband said that about his friend that he just went up to him and was like,
my son also being curious about Finn or Colin's friendships, which are male friendships, which are different. He has a buddy named Reese and both of them share the love of the Astros. They have and they just laugh all the time. And Finn goes, hey, Dad, do you remember the first time you met Reese? And Colin goes, leaning into this, he's like, I sure do. He goes, well, what did you say to become friends? He goes, I just looked at him deep into his eyes and I said, I like you. You want to be my best friend? And Reese said, hell yes. And then we were best friends. And Finn was literally like, it was that easy? Like, it was just to be best. It should be, right?
Sometimes I was thinking about this because I found this so hilarious, but so does Shane. She'll remember this story. I'm going to tell her. She has to listen to this podcast. So my friend, Lori De La Cruz, I don't know if we can put that.
Yeah, that's a good name. Why not?
She's just wonderful. Love you, Lori. So we were from the same town and didn't know each other. I think she knew my brother at one point because she was his grade, I think. And right out of college, the first job that I got was working at this little newspaper. And so I worked on one side of the building and I was in advertising. And then I was in, at the time, I think it was
ad sales, wasn't it?
It was ads. I was trying to remember because I did a couple things there. But so I was on one side and then she was on this other side. And I think she was calling on classifieds or something like that. And so I walked into the front part because that's where all the business took place, where you had to turn everything in. And Mariah Carey was on the radio, and it was that song that goes, "Heartbreaking, got the best of me." You know that song?
Yeah.
And it was on, and I just happened to say out loud, I was like, "I love this song." And Lori goes, I love this song too. And she stood up at her desk and goes, and I love in the video where she dances like this.
Oh
and
my
she
God.
did the full dance routine. And I was
You're fully in love.
Do you want to go to lunch?
Yes.
And that was it. We started vacationing together.
Yes.
It was immediate because it was just we got excited about the same thing so
it's your
quickly.
Meet Cute, man.
Yeah, and you met her in Washington, where her husband that came to the show.
Oh, that's right. They're awesome.
God, yeah.
It's so man, when that happens, it's just meant to be. I feel like that's how it was for my friend. Actually, though, this is truth. When I met my friend Laura Davis, who is hilarious.
Who I knew before I knew.
Yes, you knew her before you knew me. And another example of how our lives should have collided. We would have been in county many times.
Yeah.
But I remember my friend Laura, I was like, oh my God, I'm the worst person. I was like, God, you're so pretty. You're so naturally pretty. But your cargo shorts are so bad. And I hate Birkenstocks. I was like, I remember being, I was like, I think we should be best friends, but can I please change your shoes? Yeah. And she, what is it with me and shoes? I'm a mean person.
I don't know.
But it was after that, we were like locked at the hip. And like, I remember specifically one time.
She is really pretty.
She's so pretty and like was just not like
a hippie. Yeah, I mean, that's
a total hippie.
If you can be just dressed like you're going to like a
listen, I love her.
In my defense,
like
a model.
I got her a new wallet for her birthday, and she put a frickin' bumper sticker on it. And I was like, this is our problem. This defines our friendship better. But mostly it's defined by one time when we did improv together. We were at a show and we had to go to a rest stop. And she's the youngest and I'm the oldest. So the dynamic was awesome. And she had to go pee. So I crawled into the bathroom and I got on top of the stall and I go, Laura. And she started crying.
Oh, you asshole. You
and
did.
She was like swatting her hand and she's like, stop it. Stop it. I'm like, I'm watching you pee. So I just like, Tara, it's a sign of love if I give you shit. By the way, it's a sign of love if you give me shit. That is 100%. Who I am. That's who I am.
I used to freak Mandy out by going, I'm the leprechaun. But literally, you could do it in the car in the middle of the day and it still would freak her out the same. It's not like you peered through the window or something.
That shit I live for. Inside jokes and like repeating shit. I used to go, Allison Bell, to my friend Allie, and she would like cry laughing. That is the shit that friends have between each other. That is the tie that binds. It's sort of the thing you can't define. It's like also the thing that you and I share too is like that love. Well, you do love to give me shit. Maybe you're my karma because you do love to give me shit and I do love it.
Well, that Mandy, she would say to me, because she has a sister and two older brothers, and she'd be like, God, you give everybody a hard time like you're a boy. Which I'm like, I kind of take that as a compliment
you could ever get.
A little bit. But there are a couple moments where we can finish each other. We can finish the story for each other. Yeah. And like one of them was, I was staying at her house and they lived like really close to a grocery store. So you could walk like 4 blocks at 10 o'clock at night and like get a 2-liter of soda and popcorn or whatever. It was not healthy to stay up all night.
Sounds great.
And so I think we're like 11 or 12 or something in Nebraska town, totally safe to do. Not worried about anything, walking
also
by.
Also the 80s.
Yeah, no.
90s.
Woo! It was
90s. 90s.
Yeah, sure. I can't remember when it was.
Well, how old were you?
I don't want to do that.
Okay, fine. I'm just saying.
Kristen.
Different time.
Yeah.
It wasn't the 2000s.
Yeah. It was. No, it wasn't the 2000s. I wasn't even going to go for that.
It was the 90s. Let's just say that. For argument's sake. Moving on. I digress.
Let's say we were young. Anyways, we were walking down the street that didn't have street lights. Also not weird or scary. We didn't have a light or anything.
Yeah, we didn't care.
But it's like 10 o'clock at night. So we're walking down this sidewalk and both of us, our conversation starts to get like a little bit like quieter and like neither one of us is really listening because there's this young child walking out of the front of this house.
What?
And this girl who's like very young with a very low, grovelly voice stops us in the sidewalk and goes, "How old are you?" "I'm the leprechaun." No, that's what she sounded like though. She goes, "How old are you?" And I remember, because Mandy always does this thing where she'll start laughing when she gets nervous and then expects me to like start the conversation or whatever. So I hear her go, exactly like, and I was like, It's none of your business.
Nightmare.
We like grab hands and like ran screaming down the street from this like 6-year-old girl. But we still to this day, I'll be like, if we're together and somebody is like, what's the scariest? We're like,
Oh, easy.
how old are you? We both know. It's this little girl, this little demon that came out of a house with no lights on.
Those are the things, though. Those are the memories and things that make you laugh. That just literally, I never feel more grounded than when I'm in a laugh with someone about a memory or just having a good time with like friends that you've had together. Like our memories together with I Mom So Hard are so awesome, and we have each other, and we often go back into those and like mind them and have fun and laugh. And I do that too. Maybe because I'm getting older, I just love when I get to be with old friends that do that for like high school or college. It's like walking down memory lane is so healthy.
Well, I was thinking about this one too. I mean, I don't think it's a coincidence that like most of my friendships, I remember these because I do have a lot of friends. I'm not going to bring them up on this podcast where we're friends.
You know who you are. That's the thing we're going to say.
Oh, yeah.
All of our friends, you know who we are. You know who you are.
And some of us are cemented because of like something really big going on at the time that wasn't necessarily great or something. And that like, but I remember Ron, who, I bring him up all the time in the podcast, who's been
the only reason we have Thanksgiving.
He's been such a good friend since the time I was 15. And this is how I remember so clearly how I was 15 that's when I started being a total mess as a human being. Maybe it might have been 14, actually.
14, it was just an appetizer.
I was dipping my toe.
Yeah, you were just trying it out. You were like, oh, no, I think asshole feels good.
I could take my way out of it, but then 15, I was fully submerged in it.
You were submerged. You were submerged in being an asshole. And I would just like to say I would like to loop back to the tubing. Anyway, go ahead.
No, I get it now. So he was in debate and I was in speech, and they had these like, practice rooms.
Everything you just said in this story just got so much hotter.
No, it's none of it's going to be hot.
Yeah.
So Ron and I like partnered up, and we were going to go in these rooms. So what you're supposed to do is like listen to each other, give your speech or your debate or whatever, and then like give each other notes on it and stuff. But everybody knows you just went back there, shoot the shit, jack around, smoke cigarettes, whatever. Like it was laugh super hard. I didn't smoke back there, but I know people who did. Mm-hmm. I didn't. I did not.
Noting.
What are you writing in your notebook?
Don't worry about it. I'm sending it to Barb.
She'd be like, I know. She's a disappointment in every way.
She would not.
But anyways, Ron and I were back there. It was like the first time, so we're just like becoming friends. And we started laughing about these cars that people had at school. Because there was this one car. It was like one of those old tiny Honda like hatchbacks that this guy had. And his friends would pick it up all the time and turn it sideways so he couldn't get out of a parking stall because it was so tiny that like they would turn it so the front end and the back end would be like stuck between two cars. So he had to wait for those cars
People
to
are
move.
Such dicks.
Or they just like pick it up. He was like,
what was it? A Dodge Omni?
No, it was it was like a Honda. Like
like a little teeny tiny.
Like a tiny Civic, just like it. They were so super small. And like it would just, he'd just fight. He's like, where's my car today? Everybody's like had such a good time with it.
Got a keychain car. I had the opposite problem, but go ahead.
I remember there was like, they were building this like sports center at the end of the street, and one of the kids had a long Lincoln, and a bunch of guys just pushed it down into the
so you could
see the Lincoln sticking out of this. I mean, like
beefy Nebraska boys can move a car. That's how they do things.
And also just the technology on cars, not great.
Yeah.
And at the time, this is when we had the skin-colored car with the horn that would stick. So it wasn't, we were all laughing about cars. Nobody had a great car. It was basically, your parents would be like,
here's the shittiest thing we own.
$450 back on my tax return. You can have half of it. Find a car.
Find a car. Yeah. And you'd be like, whoa. I might find something with a spoiler.
And then you had an uncle that like needed cash quick, and that's what happened, you guys. We've all been there.
My dad owned a car dealership, and I got the shittiest car on the block.
That's what you're supposed to get.
And build your character.
That's right. So Ron and I were laughing about these cars, and I go, oh my God, man, there's this one car. I go, it's a It's a GMC. It's a Citation. It's a 4-door. It's the hatchback, you know?
Oh,
It's
no.
The Chevette was like the Chevy version, and then the GMC, maybe it was AMC even, Citation. It was just a long slope.
Oh, no.
And I go, Ron, this car makes me laugh so hard. It's got limo tint that's not even legal. It's so black. I don't know how you can see out. It's on the front window. It's so dark. And this car has been painted this like matte turquoise with like a pink pinstripe down the side of it. And he is laughing so hard he could not breathe. And I stop laughing and he's still laughing. And I go, Ron, is that your car? And he's going, yeah, it's my car. And he's laughing so hard he can't breathe because he knows how shitty this car is. But he goes, you want to drive it? And I was like,
absolutely.
1,000. So I learned how to drive on it.
Oh, my God.
So
yes, having shitty cars was like, it's so important. God, please let everybody have shitty cars. That is exactly how I lived my life. There was like, my dad would get like these beater cars for trade-ins and he'd be like, Kristin, go try them out. Never was he like, oh, I don't want to put my daughter in something unsafe. He's like, no, I want to put you in the car, find out what's wrong with it so that when somebody buys it, they're not mad at me. I'm like,
I know.
I was on the side of the road coming back from Command Performance with an updo for prom.
Always.
My car shit the bed. I was like, Dewey, your cars are lemons.
My big question every day was, will the car start or not? Like for like 10 years of my life, that was my like biggest question. And Ron too. Ron always had nice cars and he always wrecked them. I always had shitty cars and I always wrecked them. But it was so funny because all of our like stories together were nobody
Surrounding
getting
a
hurt.
car.
But I mean, I've told you that story. I literally have thought I needed to go to the hospital. I was laughing so hard about his hood flying up on the freeway and it wrapped around and came in through the sunroof. And like my brother and I were driving by and it had been cut off by the jaws of life, you know, and it was on the side of the road. He was fine. Nobody got hurt. But
we're morons when we were young.
I know. I saw his car and when he pulled it into the driveway, we were roommates, and I start laughing. He just goes, "Fuck you, Jen." And I was like, "That's friend, man.
That's friend language. That's a sign of love when someone tells you to fuck off." I know.
He was like,
"This
is not the one you're going to give me a hard time on. Not this one. Not today.
Not today, ma'am.
But for the next 20 years, probably." And yes,
it's fair. It's humbling. That's what they're there for. I've been reminded many times of bad hair and bad choices by my friends all the time, and I'm like, if you guys need to take me down a notch, you've done it. Yeah. And well done. And I support it and I will flip it back because
they also
you're wearing cowgirl boots.
They know the topics not to touch too.
Yes. They always have your back. Like truly, truly.
Yeah.
I told my daughter asked me, she said, because she is curious about my friend that passed away, who I loved so much. And she said, she always wants to know stories. I'm like, half of them involve us drinking underage, so I'm going to not share all those. But I said, I do have a funny story for you. And, you know, she's listening with her eyes are like wide open and she's like listening to everything. And I said, this is how you know you have a good friend. My friend Brandy and I were driving in her Honda Prelude. That was lost on her. But like, could you have a sexier car? Wow. I'm like, well done, Brandy. You're so much, I know, cooler than me. And she had a license plate that said "Be Bold." I mean, she had a personalized license plate. Well done. So we were driving in her Honda Prelude, chatting it up. We were on
the two-tone blue, or
blue and silver. It was so awesome. So we were in her car. We were probably listening to Prince. We were driving down the street. And then we got to chatting, and both of us had really strong bangs at the time. And then all of a sudden we heard go, 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 go. And we kept chatting, and we were really talking about something important because that's when we realized we ran out of gas. Ooh. And then we realized that she did have a gas thing in her trunk, still chatting, but no gas in it, still chatting. Mm-hmm. Walked probably half a mile to a local gas station, put $3 in it, came back still chatting, filled up the car with a gallon of gas that we had purchased, put the thing back in the trunk, still chatting, got in the car, kept going with our conversation, never talked about it as though it were a big thing. I was like, we literally ran out of gas on the side of the interstate, walked, got gas, got back, never scared, never felt the need to stop talking, just kept going.
Yeah.
And that's Those are the things that when I tell her, Eleanor feels like, she's like, oh man, I can't wait for that. I'm like, you will. You'll have it.
Yeah.
You'll have
you
all
will.
those stories and all those friendships, and you'll be so lucky and be grateful for those friendships because, man, they matter. All your friendships matter.
And when they're not easy to come by, just put yourself out there, okay? Just put yourself out there. I swear to God, it's scary for everybody.
It is scary. And you know what? I don't mean to digress, but because I feel like you and I could talk about this subject forever, but don't you find that we have a lot of moms who listen in and write in who talk about how hard it is as a mom to meet a mom friend?
Yeah.
I think that's a really tough thing when you are a mom and you have limited time and you don't know how to make friends. That is a tough thing. So I say, like, be bold, get in there, say hello to somebody, make a new friend, put something on the books and try it out, right? 100%. Or what advice would you have for somebody who's like trying to find a mom friend? I just come on strong. That's my advice to everybody in dating and in job interviews, in friendship. Come on strong. Start with, I will save you from dehydration by putting a tube in your butt if you need it, even if you're the third friend.
Well, I would say if you're kind of shy, here's a really good way to warm the playing field. Just do something nice. Everybody, even an asshole that you're not going to end up being friends with, is going to appreciate you doing something nice and is going to feel a little bit better. And then that says to them, I'm nice. So if you want to be brave enough to come to me,
you can.
You can. I'm going to be nice.
That seems like a more reasonable approach than mine, but I think both have worked. Both have worked.
I do what feels natural.
I don't know. I like calling people and saying stuff like, "Can I come over?" That's
nice.
I've been in the salon chair and I've been like, "Can we be best friends? Can I have your number?" Sometimes it didn't work out. I've been shot down and I'm like, "Well, I'm going to find you online."
You know, it's like, consider yourself like a 24-year-old guy in a nightclub.
Yeah,
you're not going to get all those phone numbers, but I'm just going to ask enough. Yeah,
just need,
ask questions.
Put it out there. Like
right.
I mean, that is exactly how I dated as well.
So I have the most epic mom box.
About friendship.
Oh, is this ever about friendship? Okay. And you know what? This is like a great year-endy kind of thing to inspire us, remind us all. This is from Emily S. I'm going to read the whole thing. It's totally worth it. Hey, I know it's a long shot you will read this, but here I go. Right now, I am driving to south of Kansas City to bury my college roommate and best friend who lost her battle with cancer. The last time I saw her was when we each drove 2.5, 3 hours to meet in the middle and attend your live podcast, the IMOMSOHARD podcast recording in Omaha at the Comedy Festival. So thank you for being the greatest last memory I have with her. After many years of fighting and several rounds of chemo, several types of medicines, diet changes, lifestyle changes, several wigs, a mastectomy, a hysterectomy, multiple procedures, and several dress sizes, she never gave up. She kept pushing forward. She always made plans. She always talked about the future. She lived life for each day. She wanted to have cows, so she went out, built a fence, and bought herself some hobby cows. She would ride dune buggies in the dunes, go boating in the Ozarks, coach volleyball for her stepdaughter, drive a pulling truck at the truck pulls on Saturday nights. She was a complete badass. I look up to her, and someday I hope to be like her. 35 is much too young to go. I just want to thank you gals for keeping me laughing, just as I got to share a glass of wine and laugh my ass off with my friend one last time.
Oh my God, you didn't say it was going to be that one.
Emily, thank you for sharing her with us. Cheers to you.
Cheers
to her.
Friend.
Keep being badasses, ladies.
That's right. Go make a new friend. And if it's easy for you to make friends, go make a new friend that needs you.
That's
She's probably crying at the park.
Oh, God.
Cheers. Bye.
We podcasted. Bye.